KimmelTrading is one of the best known trading influencers in the game. He's incredibly consistent and he shares both a ton of news and updates about what's going on in the prop industry, but also about his own trading journey. And he recently posted a video breaking down 6 key lessons of how he made over $121,000 from trading, which is just an insane amount of money. And so we're going to be reacting to his video today to see what these 6 key lessons are, what you can take away from it, and how hopefully we also can make $121,000 from trading. It's a chill video, so grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. Let's get right into it.
I've been trading for the past 5 years and I've experienced everything from blown accounts, from being unprofitable, from working 2 jobs, from being profitable and then back to being unprofitable and back to being on the drawing board. I've lost
insane editing. He might have made $121,000 from trading, but I bet he's paying his editor $121,000. Awesome editing.
From challenges, I've lost funded accounts and I've even also lost a full personal account with money that I've put into with my hard-earned money. But also during this time, I've been able to make over $100,000 just from trading alone. And in this video, I'm going to break down the lessons that I have learned through this time where I was trading. And believe me, even though the number 1 is going to be very basic, I can tell you that from there on, we just get better and better and better. But let's start with number 1. Number 1 is risk management. This might be
classic. No surprise there. Risk management, obviously key.
A very simple and vague one, but I can tell you that this is the reason why I am still trading to this day. The reason I say this is because a lot of people lose everything because of poor risk management. And it does not matter.
When I first started back in 2017, oh my gosh, the number of accounts that I blew. I maxed out my credit card to fund an account, full margin, blew it. It's just absolutely awful. I'm sure many of you relate, but yeah, risk management, obviously key, but nobody likes to pay attention to it.
If they know what they're doing or not. If you blow an account, it's because of not having proper risk management, not understanding or not actually doing it. But everything that has got me this far has been risk management. And the reason for that is because ever since I've deposited and I started with $1,000 into my personal account, my maximum risk was always 1%. For 3 years, I would never risk more than 1%. That didn't even cross my mind. And here we are talking about the time where I was working 2 jobs. I was working, going to uni, doing everything to be able to pay for my education. And if it wasn't for risk management, I would have quit so quickly because I would lose much more money than I was willing to lose, and then I would just completely quit or just go down the gambler's route, which is worse than quitting. So yes, I have blown accounts, I've blown challenge accounts, I've risked 4% on challenge accounts, but the key factor here is that even though I might be risking a lot in these challenges, for example, at the same time I'm not putting money that I'm not willing to lose like that. So you have to be able to.
That's key. I always say you should never purchase a challenge with money that you're not willing to lose. That goes for anything, trading, investing, anything in life. Don't invest money that you're not willing to lose. Super key. And obviously don't invest in a challenge until you have your edge, until you're consistent.
Manage your risk, not only outside of trading, but also inside of trading. You have to understand what risk you are going to use. You have to understand how you are going to manage that risk. But that means that I'm risking 1% maximum of the capital that I have available to trade. Which takes me to number 2, which is the more money you need, the less you are going to have, especially in trading. Why does
this is great. I noticed when I was trading full time that my trading was in many ways worse prior to quitting my job because I now relied on my trading income. It was 100% my source of income and no other source of income. So if I wanted to eat, if I wanted to pay my bills, pay my rent, I needed to make money. I needed that money, and that eagerness made me a worse trader because I couldn't sit on the sidelines. I felt like I always needed to be in a trade.
This correlate with the previous point. If you're not risking 1%, that means that you're trying to compensate for something else, which means you need the money probably. If you're risking 5, 10, 20% of your account, you're acting out of fear, but you have this hope that maybe you can flip this account and make money from trading. But I can tell you that 99.999% of you will never be able to flip an account. And I say this this with all due love because I would never want you guys to fail. But I can tell you that if you are
Yeah, I get a lot of hate on Twitter for saying you can't flip an account, like you can't turn a $1,000 account into $100,000. Tons of hate, but I'm totally in line with Kimmel here. It's not going to happen unless you're just fully gambling and you win the lottery.
signing up to risk 20% of your account, you are signing up to fail. So if you need the money and you're desperate for it, then you are going to fail. It's basically like wanting to pet a cat on the street. You don't go after it, you don't chase it. The more you want to pet it, you wait for it to come to you, which in trading means you have to focus.
It's so true. That's such a good analogy. I'm allergic to cats, so I don't approach cats, but yeah, spot on.
Focus on the process, not about flipping the accounts and not about making money from trading in your first 3 years. That should probably not even be the focus. I can tell you that when I was trading out of desperation, when I was full-time trader and not profitable yet, those were my worst trading periods because I was acting out of desperation. Not only a desperation of making money from trading, but also being able to say that I am a successful trader. But that's where I understood. And this is point number 3, which is trading is supposed to be easy. What I mean by this is that
we have a video on this channel which I think is literally titled like 90% of that, like trading is easy, you're just doing it wrong. So 100%. Kimmel, if you watched that video, I see you.
Most probably know what you are doing wrong. Think about your best winning trades. Think about the trades where you waited for.
Just to interrupt one more time, I love the Tim Ferriss quote. He always brings it up. What would this look like if it were easy? It applies to everything in life, and I always ask it in trading. What would trading look like if it were easy? Ask yourself that question, and the answer will basically save you from having to take any course whatsoever. Just follow whatever that answer is, and you'll be way ahead of the game.
All of your confluences to play out, the daily bias to be there, manipulation to be there, market shifts, everything is ready. The trade looks so picture perfect that you just execute, and then when you take the win, you think, my God, this was one of the easiest wins that I've had thus far. And that's what I mean. Trading, if you wait for the right setup at the right time with all of the confluences, trading is going to be easy. If you eliminate all of the low probability trades that you've taken and you know were low probability, trading becomes so much more easy. And I've learned this the hard way. I can tell you I've lost funded accounts trading C setups. I've lost potential profits from trading C setups. And every time I just focused on the high probability setups, I've made all of the money that I thought that I was going to make by taking these low probability setups. So waiting and not trading.
The low probability setups, that low hanging fruit, it's so tempting, but it can just cause so much disaster in your trading. Got to avoid those.
Every day, which is a mistake that everyone basically does in trading. You try to trade every day. That is just making your trading harder and harder. You are being your worst enemy. So understand when to trade, when not to trade, understand when to call it a day, and understand that trading is supposed to be easy. And yes, now I used quotations. What I try to tell my students personally is that there's 2 ways that you can trade. You can trade with the current, or you can trade against the current. Can you get somewhere if you are...
Nice analogy as well. First the cat, now the swimming. I can barely swim, so also I won't try any of these, but very nice.
Swimming against the current? Yes, you can. But how much easier would your swimming be if you just swim with the current and then take advantage of what the river presents to you? This was an example that I've used not long ago in one of my Zoom sessions. You want to save yourself when you are swimming in a current, and you're right here. This is you. And it is, let's say that you can swim against the current and get a 1-hour trade, or you can just wait, go with the current, position yourself in a way that you are ready to execute on that 2-hour trade, and you'll see how much easier your trading will get. But that is where number 4 comes into play, which is psychology. And I don't think that trading psychology is as important as people make it seem. I think that a lot of people use trading psychology as an excuse as to why they are a bad trader, technically. One of the things that I've understood is that I started thinking about trading psychology way too early. Times where I did not have to think about trading psychology, I was putting these ideas.
Yeah, thinking about it too early, that's an interesting point. I was listening to a recent podcast with Alex Hormozy, great business guy, and he said there's no point in reading a sales book, a book on sales, before you've actually had a sales call, because it just doesn't apply. So I think it's kind of the same idea of like, you don't need to focus on your trading psychology until you're actually in the depths of trading and you know what's going on and you know what you're struggling with.
Ideas into my mind of, oh, I only took this trade because I had FOMO. Oh, I only took this trade because X, Y, and Z. No, I took that trade because I thought it was a good trade and it resulted in a loss. And the reality is that you know most of the mistakes that you are making. You know you shouldn't take that trade. You know you should wait. You know you should not trade when the day does not present what you're looking, yet still you fall into these gambling habits. But I would definitely say that the number one priority has to be become a technically profitable trader, which means have a profitable trading plan, and that means have a back-tested trading plan, and only then are you supposed to be focused on psychology. A lot of people say that trading is 80% psychology, 20% technical. I would agree after your third year in trading, or once you reach some sort of profitability, because before that I would say these are flipped around. In trading, psychology is 20% of what you should be worrying about, and then technicals 80%, and that until you find some sort of profitability. And this takes me to my next point.
An interesting point. I'd have to think about that a bit. I don't know exactly what I think the breakdown would be, but it's an interesting point.
Which is that with trading, the only way is long term. You should not be thinking in any other way besides long term. Because if you think long term...
Totally agree. We could probably just skip this entire section. I'm totally on board, but we'll keep watching.
Most of your psychology problems will go away. Are you worried that you took a loss? Well, if you think long term, you understand.
Also, just to interrupt again, I always say it's not about the next trade. Stop worrying about the next trade. Think about the next 100 trades. For me, when I started to adapt that, it made a huge shift because about the law of large numbers. You have no idea what your next trade is going to do, what your next 5 trades are going to do. But you know your edge over 100 trades will play out. So that's where your focus should be. And you can only do that if you're thinking long term.
Understand the law of large numbers in that over the course of 1,000 trades, if you have a profitable edge, that you are going to be profitable. Worried that you missed a trade? Well, long-term thinking tells you that the next trade is coming eventually. So you have to think long-term in risk, in trade frequency, in risk to reward, whatever it is, just think long-term. Whatever emotions you are feeling right now, you have to step back and look at the bigger picture. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in these past 5 years, which is every time I was having a bad trading performance, I was focusing way too much on this month and not understanding that there's so much more that goes into trading besides 1 month. I used to say this, and I think it was one mentor of mine that used to say this, which is 1 day does not make or break me as a trader. 1 week does not make or break me as a trader. 1 month, 1 year do not break me as a trader. And that is long-term thinking. Because we cannot forget.
Yeah, it's really good quote.
What is the 8th wonder of the world? It's compound interest. But we don't understand this, but this also happens with our knowledge. We start learning and we don't understand that the work that we are putting in is actually giving you results. Even though you might still be an unprofitable trader, the work you keep putting in every single day still is working on your long-term profitability. It does not matter the results that you're having right now. So it does not matter if in year 1, 2, or 3 you were not profitable, because eventually if you're actually putting the work in, the results will catch up with your knowledge. And that's where the compound effect is going to take place. Keep in mind, and this is a personal story, for 2.5 years, I did not make any money from trading. Yet by the 3rd year, I already had made $35,000. That is the power of compound interest. That is the power of you continuing to put the work in consistently, day in and day out. And last but not least, but there still will be a bonus at the end, I believe that most strategies are profitable strategies. And the one that makes...
Yeah, man, Kimmel, either we're on the same wavelength or you've seen some of our stuff. Maybe I've seen your stuff, but yeah, we have a tweet out about this. But yeah, 100%. I believe, and I have believed for years, that literally pretty much, maybe I shouldn't say literally, but just about every single strategy can work. If you want to do trend lines, no problem. Only trade 61.8 Fib retracements, whatever it is, lunar cycles, whatever. If you do it consistently over a long period of time and your emotions aren't messing with your strategy, I think just about any strategy, I won't say literally, but just about any strategy can work.
Makes it work or not work, it's you. Trading is the ultimate accountability game. You are the one that presses buy or sell. You are the one that manages the risk. You are the one that inputs the lots or the contracts that you want to enter on. Everything is in your hands. There's no other person for you to blame. And that's why I think that trading is one of the best careers to follow. Because once again, your success is determined by you. It's not determined by your boss. It's not determined by someone else, because you have the final say. But that is also the downfall of a lot of traders, because a lot of traders would be much better with having someone telling them what to do. But let me tell you, that is not the long-term game that you play with trading. Your number one focus should be become a profitable trader. Here and in the charts, 99% of the times, it's not the strategy, it's actually you. Think about it. We all see the same charts, so you and the work that you put in is going to be the determining factor of your success. And then just as a bonus point, I really think that this one is important, which is the importance of goal setting. Goal setting has been the thing that has changed my life the most. From planning out my day, to planning out my quarter, to planning out my year, knowing what I wanted to do. So for example, right now with the Simple Trading Edge, my number one goal is that in 2024, I want to make sure that 500 traders get funded. 500 traders that join the Simple Trading Edge will get funded this year. And the reason I say this is because goals as a trader are so important, because they will keep you grounded and they will make you think ahead. They will make you think about all of these previous steps, because if your goal is to be a profitable trader, you know that you can't risk 10% on the next trade. If your goal is to become a profitable trader, then you have to think long term. You have to think at the bigger picture. Everything that
The way he's wording it reminds me of inversion thinking. Charlie Munger, he kind of made this very well known. I think Einstein too as well. He said always invert, always invert. It's the same idea. If you invert your question, rather than saying, how can I become a profitable trader? What would you have to do to guarantee that you would never make money from trading? The answer to that is what you need to avoid. The answer could be always risk 10% per trade, never stick with my strategy, trade with my emotions. So you know, those will guarantee your failure. Do the opposite and you can guarantee your success. Kind of the same idea of what he's saying.
We've talked about right now ties in really well with goal setting. And so I genuinely recommend at the beginning of every quarter, I recommend you guys reviewing the previous quarter and setting the goals for the next quarter. Every single month, review your month. What have you done right? What have you done wrong? And prepare every single day beforehand, and you will see the biggest difference and shift in your trading. Because without a plan, without goals, it's going to be much tougher.
Kimmel, great video. Appreciate all the content you're putting out. We're definitely on the same wavelength. A lot of the stuff you're saying, I totally agree with. So we're going to link his YouTube channel down below. Definitely go give him a subscribe. Definitely go subscribe to him. He's putting out a ton of great content. If you have any questions, let us know down below. We'll see you in the next one. And until then, peace.